Hello everyone, in today's video I'm going to go over one of the key moves in the golf swing, very specifically in this case the eversion of the trail foot during the golf swing. So the banking of this trail foot. What does it mean? Why is it important? How you can work on it? So let's start first of all by saying why is it so important? It's because it's very closely linked to the transfer of weight. So it's dependent on the movement of the pelvis, of the hips, and the transfer of weight, as we know, is absolutely the most important thing. You cannot hit a ball solidly, you cannot hit it well, you cannot be a good player if you do not have your weight forwards. And that is what the banking of the trail foot enables you to do. Let's get into it. So here we are, we have the banking of the trail foot. So like I said, what does that actually mean? It's the eversion of the foot like this. It's the rolling onto the instep as a result of the pelvic motion, as a result of the hips going forwards, like so. If I do this from down the line, it would look like this. So it's where I'm starting to show you the camera, the studs underneath the shoe as a result of my hips going forwards. Now, what would be the opposite of doing this? Well, the opposite would be a swing where you make a motion and you don't have a foot rolling onto the instep. Rather, you have it going straight onto the toes like this. So the heel of the trail foot, the heel of the back foot would lift up. From this view, it would look like this. The heel of the back foot would lift up. And as you can see when I'm doing this, my hips would actually move like this towards the target, and I would lose towards the golf ball, and I would lose my inclination to the ground, okay? Furthermore, what else would it look like? As you keep on swinging, it would be the fact that as you keep coming round, your heel, so the heel of the trail foot, is actually working away from the target like so. So you end up in a position where the heel is moving further away from the target than when it started. And not only that, it is actually moving in such a way that it finishes the swing further away from the target than the toes of that foot. Now, what do we want to have happen? Like I said, we want to have the foot roll onto the instep. We want to show the studs to the person behind. How does that happen? Well, it happens because your hips are sliding forwards. So the more I slide my hips forwards throughout the time and space of the swing, the more you can see this starts to drag the foot onto the instep like this. If I make a swing where I'm very flat-footed, it's invariably the result of the hips not actually transferring forwards, not actually shifting towards the target. You can see very automatically here, if I make a swing and I don't move forwards, that heel stays on the ground or shifts backwards. I'm not banking like so. So how do you work on it? How do you make it happen? What is it indicative of? It's indicative of making a downswing where your hips travel forwards, and as a result, the foot banks like this, okay? For many of you, it would feel like the heel actually stays on the ground, because again, the common thing I see is the heel moving up in the air like this. And we're trying to practice doing this move. And again, I think very much you can practice this even without the confines of a golf swing, where you can just be in position and practice just going like this with your foot. And over time, your flexibility in the ankle will improve, and you'll find that move easier and easier to do. So when it comes time to start hitting golf balls, I'm in position, my hips are going forwards, and like I've said in prior videos, it really requires a hip shift, a hip slide, so a weight shift, so you don't hit the ball with your weight on the back foot, and you are very much focusing on the slide component, not the rotary component. So if I hit a shot, something like this. So my hips have gone the most forwards, and so my foot is rolled onto the inner portion of it. I'm showing the studs to the person behind the camera, and my heel is closer to the target than my toes. And that's the really important part. If I do it from this view, you can see how I'm showing you my studs, and my heel is still closer to the target than my toes. So very much a measure of how good you are at transferring your weight, which like I said really is the most important thing in a golf swing, a measure of how well you're transferring your weight, which is a measure of how good your ball striking potentially can be. measured by the trail heel, by the banking of the trail foot. And like I said, you'll see this exhibited by all the best players. Now, what are some of the pitfalls? Now, what are some of the reasons why you're not doing that? One, quite simply, you're in position, you don't have enough weight shift, and you start to rotate. You try and turn your hips as fast as you can. It's often something people say, you're trying to turn your hips, you're trying to open your hips for impact, and when you do that, your hips go backwards, your weight goes backwards, your trail heel spins out backwards like this, and from there, you're not in any position that any good player has ever been in ever before, okay? So again, you're not trying to rotate your hips as much as you can, you're trying to slide your hips, you're trying to transfer your weight forwards as much as you can. You're trying to create this motion where the hips go forwards and upwards, the head stays steady, and you have this nice extended look like the PGA Tour logo at the end of your swing. So do some practices. Again, if I grab a ball, just to show you, I'm in position and I'm going to slide the hips forwards. I'm not thinking of a rotary component, I'm just trying to slide the hips laterally. And of course there is a rotary component. You can see it, my hips have turned 80, my shoulders have turned 90. I'm turning just fine, but I'm not concentrating on that. I'm just trying to get the hips to slide forwards. And as I'm doing it, I'm really focusing on the motion of the trail foot, like so. Right there. So I'm showing the studs to the person behind. My heel is still closer to the target than my toes because I have slid forwards rather than simply rotated around like so. So super important, learn to make that inversion of the trail foot. Now let's do one little exercise in order to work on it. Here we go, easy drill for you to work on it. I've got my ball in position, I've got my stance in position, and I have positioned a bottle of drink just a couple of inches to the outside of my trail heel, like so. My task, obviously here, is to make my swing and make sure the heel stays away from that bottle and doesn't rotate back and into it. So, I'm in position, make a couple of practices, slide the hips forwards, heels moved forward, it hasn't gone backwards, and do this and make sure I don't displace, don't dislodge that bottle as I'm doing it. And as you can see, I've banked the foot, the heel, if anything, has moved away from that Coke bottle. I'm not in any danger of over-rotating, spinning out this way and dislodging that bottle. Give it a go. I promise you'll learn to get your hips more forward and you will play your best golf as a result. Thank you very much for watching the video. If you have any comments at all, then please don't hesitate to pop them down in the comments below. Likewise, if you haven't yet, then please do like and subscribe to my channel. It's absolutely going to help you play your best golf. Likewise, it will help me build a sound community of golfers all wanting to improve. If you'd like to work with me in person, you can do so right here on the south coast of England, near Bournemouth, or wherever you are in the world through the Skillist app. It's a fantastic way to get feedback no matter where you are in the world, and be sure to be on the steady roads towards your best golf. Happy golfing.